My name is Akeade Adetunji. I'm the founder of Ceasar Graphics Academy, and I have designs from the group members. What I'm going to be looking for on the designs is number one, the contrast. All right. Number two is the layout, and then number three is the how the designer was able to control the movement of the eye, which is the hierarchy. All right. So that's the three things I'm going to be checking on the designs. Okay. So this very first design here. So to me, I like the contrast, which is the key here. All right. But the reason why this design is not really looking successful is because the information here is too close to each other. All right. And what I'm going to advise whoever designed this to do next time is whenever you are given a project to work on with information like this, where you have different paragraph, all right, I would advise you do more of arranging the content in columns. All right. When I say columns, this is what I'm trying to say. So this is what, so I expect this information here to come here. It should come in columns here. All right. Remember what I always say to you guys, the goal is to make the project look simple and attractive. So part of how we make our project look attractive in graphic design is the allowing the content to breathe. All right, giving room for white space. So when we do this, all right, when we arrange our content this way, okay, it always make the project look full. Okay, so I would advise you, put that here. And then another thing I think you did not do well here is the use of all these elements on the background. Yes, I understand that you are trying to make the background not to look too empty, but there are other things you can use to play with your background. One of it is, since the project is talking about homes and shelter, I expect you to do more of maybe something that shows building, something that shows icon of house, or you can even do something that shows boxes like this, so as to just depict window. All right, so I believe that will still work. Or maybe you should just forget about using those elements, because even the project is already full. All right, the project is already full with all this information here, so you adding to it is going to affect the beauty of the project. Then another thing I think you did not do well here is the making your social media handle here too tiny. And the reason why it's too tiny is because you use narrow font. When you're using narrow font, I'm talking of fonts like Bebas, Knockout, and so on. Making them too small will affect the visibility of the type. All right. So whenever you're trying to put information like this on your project, and you are planning to make it smaller, use more of fonts like what you use here. All right, for the address and the social media handles. So when you use our narrow fonts, it's going to affect the visibility, because narrow font most time always make our letters too close to each other when we make it smaller. And I'm sure the reason why it's like that is because most time the width of narrow fonts always come wider. They're always wider. So wider type, most time when you shrink them, when you make them smaller, you are going to end up losing the information. Okay, so please avoid that on your next project. Okay, and okay, so what else do we have here? So please, your cropping of image here is not balanced, so I expect you to make this go out so we can see this information here. In fact, the project would have looked more less busy. The designer decided to use things that are not necessary, and that's why everything is looking too full. So I don't expect you to have this. This is not necessary, because this alone is taking space, because this information here is very important. In fact, this information here, the reason why you are asked to work on the project. And if people are finding it difficult to see this, now see, it's not like it's not visible. Okay, it's visible, but what I'm trying to say here is whenever you're working on design projects, try as much as possible to create something that will draw people's attention fast to want to read every information on the design. And how we achieve this is when we allow our content to breathe. So please, white space is very important. So I will advise you, give room for white space on your next project. Okay. So, but another thing that I like about this is the fact that you decided not to use too many colors, and the colors you use here is strong enough to draw attention, which is very okay. But next time, don't make it too much. All right. Don't make it too much. It's too much here. Okay, why is my mouse misbehaving? All right, so I believe you get the idea. All right, so please next time, I will advise you, play with this color in a less way. Okay, let's go straight to our next design, which is this. All right, so this is a beautiful project, and I like the layout. In fact, when I received this design, what I noticed on the layout is this. So I'm going to create a new layer now. All right, and this is what I notice on the layout. Z, 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 and Z, which is beautiful. All right, this is a beautiful layout. Okay, so this is too close to this place. All right, so please, you need to move it back. I'm sure what you're trying to do is not to make the information close to this side. All right, but please, next time you need to move it back. The designer played well with the layout, and every content here are they are well aligned. And then another thing I think you need to work on again is please, this is a beautiful project, this is a nice looking project, but next time, please avoid using display avoid using modern type, avoid using making modern type smaller. All right, this your type here, is it modern? No, it should be display. All right, this is a display type, so please avoid this. All right, don't always make them smaller. All right, don't always make them, because when you make it smaller, people will find it difficult to see the information you have there. Okay, so next time, if I happen to be the one to work on this project, what I'm just going to do is to put the Bible passage right under the title like this. All right, because every information on the design is important. Mhm. And so then another thing, yeah. So another thing I think you need to work on. Okay, let's just finish with this first. Then we'll go straight to the next one. So this needs to go out. Okay. All right. So you can always put this here or here. All right. I believe if you do it this way, to still look nice. And then the another thing I think you also need to work on is the use of too many shapes, because remember I had to take out that circle here. All right, so please limit the use of shape on your design project. Shape is another way we also create contrast in graphic design. We already have that circle shape here. All right, so you adding it here again with all these different shapes here is going to affect the contrast of the design. Okay, so if you have many squares on your design, you can now use maybe circle to create contrast, like to draw people's attention to part of the important information you want them to quickly see. All right, but if you have too many circle with too many square or rectangle shape, the contrast is not going to balance. Okay, so next time, if you're going to work on project like that, and you notice you have too many same shape, then you can now think of work on using another shape to create something that will draw people's attention to the important information you want them to see on the project. Okay, so another thing is for this side here, expect you to use the same look of these shapes here. All right, now see, I'm not against this design. All right, I'm just adding to what I believe will help the making it look more professional, like something that will help, that will enhance the look more. All right. But in all, I like this design. This is a beautiful project. So good job to the designer. All right. So let's go straight to our last design for today. Okay. So for this, I like the simplicity on part of what I think the designer used to need to work on here is the use of elements that are not necessary. Like I always say to you guys, elements that are not using the elements that are not necessary on your design is part of what is taken away from the design. All right, adding them is not going to help the look of your design, so you need to take it out. I know most time when we do this, we always try to see how can we make the project look more interesting. You make the project look more interesting is when you don't add but you subtract. All right, so I like the contrast here with the shoe, and I also like the fact that you played with the title here. But the only but I have with this is that it can still look better. So let me see if my version is going to help the look of the project, because I noticed one of the reason why part of what I noticed on this project is that the designer is trying to be careful not to make the project look too busy, but we always forget that our job is to help people, is to create what will draw people's attention to want to look at the project. And since it's a social media design, for me, I believe playing more with the title is part of what we use as creatives to draw people's attention to read every other information on the design. So if I happen to be the one to work on this project, this is what I'm going to do. So before I redesign it, I'm going to break everything here into different groups. So I'm going to start with the social media. All right, I'm going to cut this out. I don't expect to see our services. All right, I don't expect to see this. All right. No, so if the client happen to be the one to say, I want to see that our services on the project, your job as a creative person is to educate the client that, stuff like that are not really necessary. Or like, it's not really necessary because we are trying to create a caption here. We're trying to create something that will make the project look interesting. The our services part should come when people want to know what you do. People want to know more about your service. All right. And another good thing about this is that the way the phrase of the title is enough to let people to tell people who you are, what the brand is into. So you now repeating our services again is like you saying my name is Tunji, and I said my name is Tunji. And when we do that, it's like when you say that to people, there's a way people will look at you like, is this guy actually normal? Because you say your name is Tunji and you repeat Tunji again. So that's the same thing that I notice here. So let's see how we can redesign this, and I'm going to teach you guys how I always make designs look interesting whenever I have long titles. But we are going to do this together, so I need you guys to so the first thing we need to do is I'm going to hide the logo, all right? Because whenever you're working on design project and you have all the elements on your artboard when working, it's going to make you get out of the job, and it's going to make you spend forever working on the project. So I'm going to hide everything here first. So then we'll now start with the title. All right. So now let's do this together. So whenever you're working on design project and you have your title, so when you look at the phrase, pick the interesting part on the title. Now, the interesting part is what you're going to use to draw people's attention to the project. In fact, the interesting part is what you're going to play with that will now make every other information now come in. Like the interesting part is what you're going to use to draw people's attention to say, okay, why do we have this? If you come up with a design that make people go like, okay, why do we have this? Why is this like this? That means that design is successful. But when you don't create design that post questions to the viewer, your design is not successful. So part of how we do this in graphic design is to play with the title. So the title is what we play with that will now draw people's attention to read every other information on the project. So if you look at it, I want us to look at the title together. We produce quality and classy unisex footwear. So, but first, this and here, we need to find something to do to it because I almost lost this title when I almost lost the and when I was looking at the design. Okay, so we produce quality and classy unisex footwear here. So we need to break everything here into groups. So what we'll do is two words in a group. So now I want you guys to work together with me on this. So what are the two words that you think we can put together in a group that look or sound more interesting to you? Because whenever you're working on design project, you have to put yourself in the shoe of the audience, different groups. So what you do is you say, if you say one, then word, then that's group one, then two, then the second word that you want to group together, then three will now be the third one, and then you will now, among the three groups, then you will now say this group is the group that sound more interesting. Whenever you're working on design projects, like I always say to you guys, that your goal is to create something that will quickly draw the people's attention to read the information on the project. And we're in a world where people easily fall for something that they hear that sound interesting to them. I'm going to use the example of iPhone here. It's not like what you do with iPhone, you can achieve it with a normal Android phone. You can always make call with Android phone. You can make call with iPhone. All right. You can access the social media apps with Android phone and still, you know, have the same access on a normal Android phone. There are some Android phones that we have today that if you see the quality of their camera, in fact, is really competing with iPhone. And there are some Android phone today that the price of the Android phone is similar to the latest version of iPhone. But the reason why you decided to go for iPhone is because you've heard so many people say when people see you with iPhone, there's this picture of how you want them to see you, and that picture is similar to what you are going to apply to every design project. So when I say unisex footwears, nobody care to see unisex footwears. Nobody will even want to, because people know that okay, unisex footwears is unisex footwears, like it's something that we are used to. But when they see quality and classy, it makes them want to go. So what is quality and classy about this item? Then they go into reading more about the information on the project. So quality and classy is strong for you to is strong enough for you to use it to draw people's attention to the project. And the reason why another reason why I'm going to prefer the quality and classy again is because we can see the picture of a footwear on the project. So you making unisex footwear more louder is you saying footwear. And in graphic design, when you are repeating things, like repetition most time is not always nice in graphic design. Now there are times where repetition is good. Repetition where you are trying to create a proximity. Repetition where you are trying to say, okay, I want people to know that every element that I use this type of space on the letters, or I use this particular color on them, should be seen as one group. So that's okay. But when it comes to passing a message, they're trying to say this object is a phone. You don't repeat phone on the title again. You don't, in fact, you don't even make phone louder on the title again. I'm sure so many of you have seen posters of poster from mobile phones company. I'm talking of Samsung, Techno, iPhones, and so on. You realize that you will never see them repeat the word phone on their poster because they know you can already see that it's phone. So repeating the word phone over and over again on the title is going to sound like you are adding too much, like you are adding what is not necessary on the project. Like I always say to you guys again that your goal as a designer is not to add to the project but to subtract, because subtracting is what gives room for space on the project. All right, so I want you guys to always remember this and don't forget this. So anytime you're working on design project, please avoid repeating the same message. Repeating the same message in graphic design is not okay. I would have prefer we just stick with quality and classy on the title and not add any other thing. But um we can't have that if we don't let people know what is quality and classy on the project. So my point is unisex footwear is not strong enough to draw attention. The quality and classy is powerful. All right. So let's quickly redesign this. So if I happen to work on this, this is what I'm going to do. So quality and classy, where are thou? So quality and classy should be here. I'm going to move this up. This should be here. And I'm going to make this bigger like so. Right. Sorry, I don't know the font name. I would have used the right font so as to avoid this blurred look. So this should be here. And I'm just going to close this. Okay. So we produce should be here. And footwear should now come under. Like so. So, but you now need to make sure that we produce and unisex footwear should share the same size, the same font size. All right. So this should be like this. All right. And then I'm going to put everything in a group. Okay. So I think I saw a rider. Where's the rider? Okay, this is it. So this can come here. Then it can now skew it. Now, the reason why it's easy for me to put this here is because people will already know that this rider here is not part of this family because of the loop on the font. All right, so you can always put this here. All right, and let's see if I make it bigger again. It should be here, somewhere around here, and this can now come here. It should be bigger because this is very, very important. Or we can even position it here. Here. Let's position it here. Alright. Or better still, thinking of doing this. This can be here. Skew. This can be here, like so. Alright, and this and this cannot be of this. What's going on? Alright, this can be here like so, and this can be here like this. And then where's the logo? So the logo can come right here. And then the social media can come on one line. Where's the social media? Okay, this is it here, so this can come here, and we can now scale this down and position it here myself, and this can come down here a bit more. The title, but make sure that this align with this. All right, this should align with this, and this should align with this, and so let's see the before and after. So this is the after and this is the before. After and before. After and before. All right, so I'm going to stop here today for today's review, and I hope you guys enjoyed the design review. So if you have not subscribed, remember to hit the subscribe button. Please share this video with your graphic design friends. You can also hit the like button if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.